Coming up on this episode, things go wrong, we tell a story, we tie ourselves to others' lives, and I may have gone too far. I may have bitten off more than I can chew. This whole season I've been trying to build up and plan towards something, and I've been working on this for a very long time in the background, what you're going to see in this episode. However, time is starting to run short, and I haven't got a lot of time to actually bring it into the actual season. So, this is going to be split over 2 episodes, and it may or may not work. We shall see. What am I talking about? I'm talking about I've got one final game to build for the server. You see, on our shopping list of things to do that we've been talking about in the last couple of episodes, there's been a few things that we've already marked off the list, but one of those had a question mark on it with the initials AOB. And this is our new game that we are going to introduce to the server just as we're getting towards the end of our season, as we're getting towards the end of things. But I haven't got a lot of time to build probably what is the biggest build I've actually built and most complicated build that I have ever built yet. But behind the scenes, planning aside, let's get into the now. Our server, we're thinking, is maybe cursed and haunted. All sorts of odd things have been going on. Hoppers have been offloading into nowhere. Random black clouds of particles have been appearing. Jam has been investigating a house that has mysteriously appeared. People step through portals and then just suddenly get kicked. Even my sand farm has been playing up, where we ended up with 100,000 sand blocks just suddenly suspended in the end until Sunny stepped through, and they all attempted to disappear at once. You ever seen the boat trick where it causes an insane amount of lag? Think that many times bigger scale. And even the chunk loader for the sand farm has stopped working. We've rebuilt it and it just doesn't work anymore. Now, in fairness, our server admins are doing a fantastic job of keeping things maintained, but we've got lots of theories about what might be starting to crack in the background. But I have my own theory. But before I tell you my theory, I think we need a bit more back history. So I've been doing some digging, and you may be aware that we've got a lot of ways of gathering data now on the server. The first one is that we got the JNet telescope that has been scanning the Unorthoblocks 3 world for a long time and has been pulling data into us. In addition to that, we have had people running through Operation Datamine, picking up information from these data disks that they're finding in the barrels down there. And on top of that, we've also got our new Tower class cruisers doing regular patrols and feeding information back to us. And that's enabled me to piece together exactly what I think is going on. So here is the story so far. When we began the season, an old adversary of ours, Doc Block from the last season, followed us through. Now, we charged Plasma with dealing with Doc Block, and as far as we're aware, that's happened. But it seems that before Doc Block disappeared, he created an AI called Blocktron. Now, this Blocktron has been causing problems for us on the server ever since. He wants to destroy, or it wants to destroy, all of us. But not just all of us now, but also in all sections of the Unorthoblocks timeline. To do this, Blocktron is researching something called an anti-unorthoblock. Not quite sure what this anti-unorthoblock is, but from what I can gather, Blocktron seems to think that this could undo the entirety of the Unorthoblocks. If I'm right, and I theorize this right, Blocktron could be very close to actually perfecting the anti-unorthoblock, and that might be why we are seeing so many problems cropping up recently when we're on the server. But time is running out to get him sorted and dealt with. We haven't got that much longer in which we can deal with him, and obviously with his anti-unorthoblocks coming, we've got to stop him from actually letting that form. We are going to have to get our skates on to get this done, and we're going to need to take direct action against Blocktron. So I can now reveal what AOB is. It is Assault on Blocktron. But before we can do that, we're going to have to build the area. To make Assault on Blocktron required a ton of help. I need a lot of people to help us out with this. Normally, I would do this on my own back, and I have provided a lot of materials, done a lot of the building so far that goes into Assault on Blocktron, but actually, I couldn't do it alone, and this is where being on a server really helps out. I am so thankful for my server mates for all the help they have given us so far in how we have progressed. So I want to give some thanks to those people, and I do apologize if I miss anyone, because literally most of the server at some point has provided something, but I'm especially going to call out all the people who have done some really good stuff here. For example, Rogue Torso has enabled us to be able to get hold of a load of slime blocks thanks to his slime farm, as well as also provided with a ton of skulk that we needed for the construction as well. And also don't forget, Rogue Torso was responsible for building the trading hall, which has been absolutely essential in getting some of the materials that we have needed for this build. Then there is Iondus, who has spent a long time AFKing at the smelter farms and organizing and sorting out getting glass blocks, not just for myself, but also there's another member on the server who's doing a big building and a lot of glass, and she has been working down at Sunny's super smelter, converting sand from our sand duper to convert it over into glass that's going to be needed in all the builds that are needed for the end of this season. I also needed a wealth of deep slate, and though I had some myself to begin with, I was going to need a lot more, and a few people came forward and donated a bunch, including Kaza and also Shin, who went on and farmed a load of deep slate. Like, he came up with a method. I'll have to talk to him at some point how he did it, but he came up with a method on how to quickly get hold of deep slate. And then there's the wonderful Amelia, who not only went out and gathered all the smaller unique items. When you get together a project like this, sometimes you get things that you need in bulk, but sometimes there's always those little individual pieces that you only need one or two of. And she went away and grabbed all of the items that was going to be needed for that, as well as also coming down and organizing our build area so that we had somewhere to work from that was going to be able to actually be organized and sorted and made it easier for us to get what we needed to take up and do the build. Special mention out for Sunny as well, because Sunny has been extensively involved in helping us with this one. On top of the fact that we have our concrete converter that we built on the Endspire station, Sunny has gone out and built a new automatic concrete solidifier, concrete waterificator, I don't know what we call the name of it, but she's built a brand new one over in her industrial district there, just for the purpose of converting the sheer amount of concrete that we need for this. But she's also provided a sheer ton of resources as well, for things like sea lanterns, frog lights, and wool as well from that industrial district. Sunny has also been involved quite considerably, along with also help from Jam and Shotgun as well at times, in helping to build what you're about to see after the break. Blood Brothers. A small band who are bound by an oath of blood. When one of us loses a life, we all lose a life. Come join the Blood Brothers. Welcome back, and just before I do a time lapse showing you what we have built so far, I just wanted to say, if you do enjoy these series that I kick out, don't forget to like and subscribe. But furthermore, don't forget to check out everyone who is involved on this server, especially the people I mentioned just before the break, because they all have their stuff down in the descriptions below, and they all produce some fantastic content. And if you want to keep up everything Unorthoblocks related, also check out in the description below. There is a link to our fan Discord server, where we end up with all sorts of activities going on. We end up interacting with the fans a lot, questions of the day. We sometimes jump into voice chats. We sometimes do, like, we got new podcasts that have come out called the Unorthocast, and we've been turning around and doing those live over in the Unorthozone. So don't forget to go and click on the Unorthozone link down below. In the meantime, let's stop talking about everything that we're going to do, and let's actually get on and begin it. And this is where we have got to so far. So now we get to actually really start to begin to explain the game. There's still a lot to be done to construct and finish this game. But the idea of this game is it's almost like a combination of our previous games of Operation Data Mine and Don't Look. You have one section which is the Spire City section. Players are going to be going over into Spire City to try and get hold of these little data keys in order to turn around and plug them into Blocktron to try and stop whatever Blocktron is doing. To find the data keys, they're going to have to run around Spire City in a very similar way to Operation Data Mine, and what doors are open and closed will change from game to game, so the whole area is mutable, just like Operation Data Mine also is at times. On top of that, there will be barrels that also drop, or say barrels that will probably be storage crates by the time I finish them, but they will be also dropping data cards. Those data cards are going to be useful. Some of them will unlock bonuses like being able to run around the place quicker, others won't, but they'll do other things like unlocking the side that goes through the sort of timelines and starts to connect to the other points where Blocktron has been interfering in different parts of the timeline. Players then can go through to that side with their keys that they have picked up, these little data AI limiter sticks, and go and find the place where they need to be plugged into and exchange them into those places in exchange for data cubes. So far, we have built quite a large chunk of Spire City, which includes also having a couple of balloons from Season 1 being converted into Spire City style balloons. We've also built an area which is going to be turned into a greenhouse. We've built like a rooftop area where players will also be running around. And also we got the starting point, which is actually a stealth version of one of our tower class cruisers tucked away in the top of the Spire City. On top of that, a couple of the points from the timeline have also been built. Here we can see that we have the Never Hub from Season 1 appearing, being interfered with by Blocktron as he reaches through time. And on top of that, we also have the catacombs from this season also in here. A lot of the redstone has already gone in. I have a new form of board here that I can use to act as the brains for the system. Because we have the interchangeable corridors like we did in Operation Data Mine, I'm using a very similar system to what we used in Operation Data Mine, but I've improved it ever so slightly so that the pistons are all at the top. It's a little wider between each of the towers, but the pistons all sit at the top, and that acts as our switches at the top there. Plus, we've got a load of these randomizers that you've seen 100 times before now in the games that I built, using the shulker boxes to be able to generate a random redstone signal out from them. This is quite an extensive build, and unfortunately this is going to be probably a little bit of a shorter episode, just because most of my time at the moment is actually focused on getting this game finished, but I didn't want to leave it too long before putting out an episode, so I thought I'd show you how the progress is so far. Whether we get this done or not by the end of the season, I don't know. If it doesn't, then it will still be there for people to see and come and visit, because I do like what it is, but let's see how far we can get. In the meantime, thank you for joining us. I am the Draken, this is the DrakenGameWerks. Take care, everyone. Okay, here we go. An attempt to do the entire episode in one take. Let's see how successful this is. But to cover what my theory is about why our server is starting to get all these mysterious odd there we are. But to go into where we began the season, an old anniversary, I don't know. Director, the Unorthoblocks Tactical Reconnaissance Observation Network has picked up that Block is ready to set off his redstone bomb in Spawn Lake. So it's time. Okay, right. Release the mobs that we've stored up into Spawn Lake, including the giant zombie. That should encourage everyone to leave this world and move to the next one. Yes, sir. Everything is coming together just as we planned. Right. Unorthoblocks Tactical Reconnaissance Observation Network. That's a bit of a mouthful, though. Maybe we should shorten that in the files to something like, I don't know, Blocktron? Anyway, time to play my part. I better join the others over in Spawn Lake, but first, I just better get my memory wiped.